Hello friend. Come and let's embark on a journey full of knowledge and lessons. From the world of science to history, we will discuss various topics that will broaden our knowledge and satisfy our curiosity. So if you are ready to learn, let's just relax and enjoy. Come, let's start. Let's explore together and learn from our new discussion.
Basic elements of a short story. Understanding how stories are structured. Okay, let's talk stories. Ever read a book, or watched a movie, that just completely sucked you in? You know, the kind where you cannot put it down, where the characters feel real, and the plot keeps you guessing. What makes those stories so amazing? It is not just magic. It is a carefully crafted structure, a secret recipe of storytelling elements, working together in perfect harmony. In this topic, we were going to spill the beans on those secrets, breaking down the essential ingredients of a truly captivating story. Whether you are a writer looking to level up your game, or a reader who wants to understand what makes a story tick, get ready for a fun and insightful journey into the world of narrative. Before we discuss the basic concepts and terms related to the basic elements of a short story, let us start with defining what a short story is. What is a short story? A short story is a made-up story that is not as long as a whole book, like a novel. Short stories are usually between 5 and 60 pages or more, depending on the formatting, so you can read them in one sitting. They often focus on just one thing that happens. Unlike a novel's sprawling journey, a short story dives straight into the heart of the action. It focuses on one key moment, one pivotal decision, one life-changing event. It is a snapshot of life, sharp, focused, and unforgettable. What is a story grammar? Unlocking the secrets of narrative structure. Story grammar is not about learning a new language, it is about understanding the underlying structure of every good story. It is a framework that helps us analyze and appreciate how narratives are built, providing a roadmap for both reading comprehension and creative writing. Think of it as a blueprint for storytelling, revealing the essential components that make a story engaging and memorable. Story grammar is more than just a plot summary. While a simple plot summary might tell you what happens in a story, story grammar delves deeper, exploring how the story unfolds, and why it works. It is about understanding the relationships between different narrative elements, and how they contribute to the overall meaning and impact. Basic elements of story grammar. Building blocks of a great story. Story grammar provides a simple yet powerful framework for understanding how stories work. It breaks down narratives into their fundamental components, revealing the essential building blocks that create engaging and coherent tales. Whether you are a writer crafting a compelling narrative, or a reader seeking a deeper understanding of what makes a story tick, grasping these basic elements is key. Setting, more than just a backdrop. The setting of a story, the where and when, is far more than just a backdrop, it is a powerful element that shapes the entire narrative. It influences the mood, impacts character actions, and even drives the plot forward. A well-crafted setting is not just descriptive, it is integral to the story's success. Setting encompasses the time and place in which a story unfolds. It includes details about the environment, geography, historical period, and cultural context that provide the backdrop for the events of the narrative. The setting helps to establish the mood or atmosphere of the story, and can influence the actions and experiences of the characters. Setting encompasses both the physical location and the time period of the story. This includes physical location. This is the geographical setting, a specific place, a region, or even a fictional world. Consider details like the environment such as urban, rural, natural, architecture, and even the weather. Time period. This refers to the historical era, a specific year, or even a fictional time frame. The time period influences the social, political, and technological context of the story. Atmosphere or mood. Beyond the physical and temporal aspects, setting also creates an atmosphere or mood. This is the emotional tone or feeling evoked by the setting, contributing significantly to the overall tone of the narrative. Why setting matters. A well-defined setting is crucial for several reasons. Influences mood and tone. The setting significantly impacts the overall mood and tone of the story. A dark, Gothic castle creates a different atmosphere than a bustling city street. Shapes character actions. The setting can constrain or enable character actions. A character in a remote village will have different opportunities and challenges than one in a large city. Drives plot development. The setting can be a catalyst for conflict, or even character in itself. A natural disaster, a political upheaval, or the unique features of a location can all serve as plot drivers. Adds realism and depth. A richly detailed setting adds realism and depth to the story, immersing the reader in the narrative world. Reflects themes. The setting can subtly or overtly reflect the themes of the story. For example, a desolate landscape might symbolize feelings of isolation or despair. Setting is not merely a backdrop, it is an active participant in the story process. A well-developed setting adds depth, realism, and emotional impact to any narrative. Characters, the heart of the story. Characters are driving force of any narrative. They are the people, animals, or beings who populate the story world, driving the plot and engaging the reader's emotions. Understanding characters goes beyond simply identifying who they are. It delves into their complexities, motivations, and relationships. Character refers to the people, animals, or creatures in a story. They are the individuals who drive the action of the story, and with whom readers identify. Characters have different personalities, traits, and roles within the narrative. Who are they? Characters are the individuals, creatures, or entities that inhabit the story's world. They can be human, the most common type, exhibiting a wide range of personalities, experiences, and motivations. Animal. Animals can serve as protagonists, antagonists, or supporting characters, often symbolizing certain traits, or embodying specific themes. Fictional beings. Myths, legends, and fantasy often introduce unique characters with supernatural abilities, or otherworldly origins. Types of characters. Protagonist. The central character, typically the one the audience roots for. They usually face challenges, conflicts, and obstacles that drive the plot. Antagonist. The character who opposes the protagonist, creating conflict and tension. They do not necessarily have to be evil, but they represent an obstacle that the protagonist must overcome. Fictional beings. These characters play important roles in the story, supporting the protagonist or antagonist, providing context, or driving the plot forward in various ways. They often add depth and complexity to the narrative. What makes a character believable? To create compelling characters, consider these aspects. Traits. These are the character's personality characteristics, including their strengths, weaknesses, quirks, and beliefs. Well-developed characters are not one-dimensional. They exhibit a range of traits, both positive and negative. Motivations. What drives the characters? What are their goals, desires, fears, and ambitions? Understanding their motivations allow readers to better understand their actions and choices. Relationships. How do characters interact with each other? Their relationships, be they familial, romantic, friendly, or adversarial, shape their actions and the story conflicts. These relationships add depth and complexity to the narrative. Backstory. A character's background and past experiences often shape their present actions and motivations. While not always explicitly stated, a well-developed backstory adds depth and realism. Growth and change. Dynamic characters evolve and change throughout the story. They learn, grow, and adapt as they confront challenges and overcome obstacles. Static characters remain largely unchanged. Characters are the emotional core of any story. By crafting well-developed characters with compelling motivations, realistic traits, and engaging relationships, writers can create narratives that resonate deeply with readers. Understanding the different types of characters, and the elements that make them believable, is essential for crafting compelling and unforgettable stories. Plot. The engine of the story. The plot is the sequence of events that make up a story. It is the driving force, the engine that propels the narrative forward, and keeps the reader engaged. While characters and setting provide the context, the plot is what actually happens in the story. For Bokchov, writers use the plot to map out their story, before beginning their writing process. For fiction writing, this serves as a creative outline. So, an understanding of the plot is crucial to craft a compelling narrative and make it impactful. The sequence of events in a plot is tied to the central conflict in a story. The plot develops as the protagonist struggles with their given problem, finds solution, and eventually accepts the results. Key elements of plot. A typical plot structure follows a pattern, though variation exists. Exposition. This introduces the setting, characters, and initial situation. It sets the stage for the story, and provides the necessary background information. Inciting incident. This is the event that triggers the main conflict or problem. It disrupts the initial equilibrium, and sets the plot in motion. This is often considered the true beginning of the story. Rising action. This is the series of events that build tension and suspense. The protagonist faces challenges and obstacles, leading to increased conflict and complexity. Climax. This is the turning point of the story, the moment of highest tension or drama. It is often a confrontation, or a critical decision, that determines the outcome of the conflict. Falling action. This is the period after the climax, where the tension begins to decrease. The consequences of the climax are revealed, and loose ends are tied up. The conflict gets resolved, and the action slows down. Resolution or denouement. This is the conclusion of the story, where the conflict is resolved, and the story comes to a close. It often reveals the new equilibrium, or the lasting impact of the events. Types of plot. Short stories can employ different plot types. Linear plot. Events unfold chronologically, in a straightforward manner. Nonlinear plot. Events are presented out of chronological order, often using flashbacks or flashforwards. This can add complexity and intrigue. Episodic plot. The story is structured as a series of loosely connected episodes or events. In media res. The story begins in the middle of the action, often revealing the background information later. The plot is the backbone of any story. It is the sequence of events that drives the narrative, creates conflict and suspense, and ultimately leads to a resolution. A well-crafted plot keeps the reader engaged, invested in the characters' fates and satisfied with the story's conclusion. Problem or conflict, the engine of narrative. The problem or conflict is the central struggle or challenge that drives the plot forward. It is the heart of the story, creating tension, suspense, and ultimately shaping the narrative's outcome. Without a compelling problem, the story lacks direction and purpose. It is the main obstacle or challenge that the protagonist or other central characters must overcome. This is not necessarily a physical fight. It can be an internal struggle, a societal issue, or a conflict with nature. The problem creates tension and stakes, raising the question, will the protagonist succeed? Types of conflict. Conflicts can take many forms. Person versus person. This is a classic conflict where one character directly opposes another. This can involve physical fights, arguments, or power struggles. Person versus self. This is an internal conflict, where the protagonist struggles with their own thoughts, feelings, or beliefs. This often involves moral dilemmas, self-doubt, or internal contradictions. Person versus society. This conflict arises when the protagonist clashes with the norms, values, or laws of their society. This can involve social injustice, rebellion, or fighting against oppression. Person versus nature. This conflict pits the protagonist against the forces of nature, such as a storm, a natural disaster, or a dangerous animal. This often tests the protagonist's resilience and survival skills. Person versus fate or destiny. This conflict involves a protagonist fighting against a predetermined outcome, or an inescapable force. This often explores themes of free will versus determinism. Person versus technology. This modern conflict pits the protagonist against the power or dangers of technology. This can explore themes of technological advancement, control, and ethical dilemmas. Purpose of conflict. The primary purpose of the problem or conflict is to drive the plot forward. It creates tension and suspense, raising the stakes and keeping the reader engaged. The conflict also reveals character. The way a character responds to conflict reveals their strengths, weaknesses, and values. Develops theme. The conflict often reflects or explores the story's central themes. Creates stakes. The conflict creates sense of what the protagonist stands to gain or lose. Provides structure. The conflict provides clear structure for the narrative, guiding the plot from beginning to end. The problem or conflict is the essential element that makes a story compelling. It creates tension, drives the plot, reveals character, and explores theme. By understanding the different types of conflict and their purpose, writers can craft narratives that are engaging, though provoking, and ultimately satisfying. Theme: the story's underlying message. The theme of a story is its overarching message or central idea. It is the big takeaway, the profound concept the author wants the reader to ponder. Unlike plot points, which are explicitly stated events, themes are often implied, woven subtly into the narrative. They are the underlying meaning, the deeper significance beyond the surface-level events. A theme is a universal idea, a concept that resonates across cultures and time periods. It is not a simple moral lesson, but a complex idea explored through the characters' actions, conflicts, and resolutions. Themes explore human nature, relationships, societal issues, or existential questions. How are themes conveyed? Themes are rarely stated explicitly, instead, they are revealed through characters' actions and choices. The way characters behave, the decisions they make, and the consequences they face, all contribute to revealing the story's theme. Plot development, the unfolding of events, the conflicts, and the resolution, all contribute to the underlying message. Symbolism. Objects, events, or characters can act as symbols, representing deeper meanings, and contributing to the thematic message. Dialogue and narration. The words spoken by characters and the narrator's perspective can offer clues to the story's underlying themes. Examples of themes. Themes can be broad or specific, but they always convey a significant idea. Friendship. A story might explore the importance of loyalty, support, and understanding in friendships. Bravery. A story might examine the nature of courage, facing fear, and overcoming adversity. Good versus evil. A story might explore the eternal conflict between good and evil, morality, and ethical dilemmas. Love and loss. A story might explore the complexities of love, its various forms, its joys, and its heartaches. Justice and injustice. A story might explore the struggle for fairness, equality, and the consequences of oppression. While theme might suggest a moral lesson, it is not the same thing. A moral is a direct statement about right and wrong, while a theme is a broader exploration of a complex idea. A story might explore a theme of betrayal, without explicitly stating that betrayal is wrong. The theme is the heart and soul of a story. It is the profound message that lingers long, after the reader has finished the book. It is the underlying concept that gives the story depth, meaning, and lasting impact. Understanding and identifying the theme enriches the reading experience, and allows for a deeper appreciation of the author's craft. Story grammar is a powerful tool for both understanding and creating stories. It provides framework for analyzing narratives, identifying key elements, and constructing well-structured and engaging texts. Whether you are a reader seeking to improve comprehension, or a writer striving to craft compelling narratives, understanding story grammar is essential. So, there you have it. Mastering the basic elements of storytelling, the setting, characters, plot, conflict, and theme, is not just for novelists, it is the secret weapon for anyone who wants to connect with their audience and create truly engaging content. Whether you are crafting a blog post, a presentation, or even a simple email, understanding these elements will help you structure your ideas, build compelling narratives, and leave a lasting impact. Go forth and tell your stories.
Until next time. Thank you for watching.